citizens' comment. And in connection with citizens' comments, should you wish to make a comment, you will find that there is a raise your hand feature at the bottom of your screen. If you click on that, we will then see it and we will give you permission to speak. So if you
Justine has her
like,
hand up.
all right. So Chris, can you?
Justine.
Hey, Justine.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
We
Yes, we
can.
can.
Okay, terrific. Again, thank you, Board of Selectmen. I know you're unpaid volunteers and you have a lot on your plate. I also have been an unpaid volunteer for many years. Let me tell you the two things. One is minor, well, three things. I just got a reverse 111 a few minutes ago about paving on Hartford Street. From my point of view, that's trivial compared to water issues in Dover. I would like to see some guard posts put in line about when you get reverse 911s, okay? That's just that just happened a half an hour ago. Second, as you know, I think my intersection, Haven Street and Center, has the most car accidents. I looked at your plan regarding the $500,000 traffic study, and I didn't see Haven and Center referenced. Of all the places that should be referenced, it's there. And I understand about the concept of scope of work, and I am sure behind the scenes you're probably thinking about this, but that has got to be addressed, in my opinion. And lastly, my real concern is we are in a water crisis now. I don't care what the state says. I go on the website every month to check what the Massachusetts Drought Management Task Force says. I went there this morning. The state has something from, well, first of all, the town of Dover's publication has something from May 1st. The state of Massachusetts has something from June 1st. And previous to yesterday, there was a meeting of the statewide drought management task force on July 9th. I see nothing on either the state nor the Dover website pertaining to the drought situation. And then yesterday, they had another meeting. As you know, I think Dover needs a place at the table. And I'm getting sick and tired. I'm sorry for venting, but about how we're not there. I don't think from what I know, I could be wrong. Maybe, Mike, you're going there every month, but someone needs to be there because as a gardener, I can tell you we're in a drought situation. I can't prove this because I don't have the information from the state nor from the town. But all I can say is I see some of my neighbors watering their lush lawns. I have 3 acres. It's not like Ryan and I are exactly immune, but we have, and I want to give you a compliment, by the way, for all this negative that I'm giving you. I think it's great that you have the town common showing how parched we are. You could do something else. Think about advertising. You advertise that we have ticks everywhere. Think about putting a sign up saying, water shortage, don't irrigate, look at the town common. And you've got a visible sign in front of you should use for advertising, in my opinion. I've noticed your DPW committee or group, they cut the grass very low. You should cut it 4 inches high like we do. We don't lose grass. We've never lost grass because my husband cuts high on the lawnmower. I think your DPW staff, from what I can tell, I'm not an expert. Maybe you get reports every day from them, but they seem to be out there very frequently cutting low. That's not the way you deal with a drought. I also look at the trees in front of Carroll Community Center that are dying. Those bags need to have water put in them every day. And even that is not sufficient. You have to water around the bags 10, 15, 20 feet around the bags, and they have to get at least 1 inch of water a week. So I see, I don't know who's in charge anymore of this, but I'm getting really depressed about our lack of focus. Focus, I guess is the word I want. About how serious water issues are in Massachusetts and in Dover, especially given the fact that we are not connected, as you know, we all know, to the MWRA, and probably won't be for many reasons that we all know. But okay, if you hear anger in my voice, yes, I'm pissed off. And someone's got to start paying attention to this, and not just Justine every month checking the Drought Management Task Force website and saying, who's dealing with all this? Now, granted, I am not on Colonial Water, or it's not Aquarian or whatever it's called these days. So maybe you guys who are getting notices all the time about do not irrigate your lawn. But all I can see, I'm part of the whatever 70% of Dover people on private wells. There are 3 homes on my street, and I'm not at this point ratting on anyone who are constantly, not constantly.
So Justine, I do appreciate your comments and, we do have a bylaw, and as you are keenly aware, that bylaw relies on the Commonwealth of Massachusetts drought indications. We are looking at other things. This is not part of our agenda this evening. So, we appreciate your comments. We do take this seriously. We do what we can given our bylaw. It is part of our sustainability committee's mission. And again, we will add it to an agenda on another evening. But thank you for your comments. We do appreciate them.
Again, this was citizens' comments, so
Right.
thank you.
Thanks. So we will now move to item 1.2 on our agenda, and that's a discussion and vote regarding a letter of agreement between Langdon Environmental LLC and Dover for the implementation of an environmental monitoring program and inspections for the town landfill and transfer station.
So, Rob, just before we get to that, we skipped over the first one, which was the community center fees.
Oh, my apologies.
You,
Well, the first
hit that
item of
button a little
business,
too
we're gonna-
quick.
and I was thinking, I thought that was first, but it isn't. So the first item of business then is going to be a presentation by Mike and Mark, and they are going to present the Carroll Community Center rental fee proposal to the board. This has been reviewed, my understanding, by the Park and Recreations Commission, as well as the Council on Aging, and it's this combined recommendation that you'll be presenting to us.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Robin. So in your packet, you'll see a fee
colorful-
structure. Yeah, it's very colorful. It's great. It's very easy to follow. Thanks to Mark
Right.
for making it graphically pleasing to the eye. And I really appreciate Mark's work on this. So Mark did a few things, looking at other area community centers, understanding what the rates were, taking into account, as you can see, the different tiers of users. So everything from town departments to local nonprofit, school and youth groups, all the way up to non-resident groups, and tried to structure the fees accordingly. The reason we wanted to bring this to you tonight and make sure, this is kind of a chance for the public to see it, and I'll let Mark to speak a little bit to it, but historically, the Carroll School at the time did charge a very nominal amount for rental fees, but did not, recoup any sort of costs and did not take into account the staffing to be in the building, particularly at nights and weekends. So as I understand it, previously residents were authorized to have access to the building. There were no town employees or staff. Mark shared some stories about, kids. I don't know if I'll use the word vandalism, but I guess excessive practical jokes and having access to the building. So things that we don't want anymore. This is a beautiful brand new building, and we want to have proper access, proper supervision and use of the building. So the fees reflect that, including particularly the Saturday and Sunday rentals, which require a custodian fee. And so you'll see that reflected on that first part, the very bottom of the first part. And that's on top of or in addition to the hourly rental fee. So, Mark grouped it by room. It's kind of based on the size of the room, the use of the room. And so, Mark, I don't know if you have anything else to add, or if the board has any questions, we're happy to talk through it.
No, I would just add that we want to obviously encourage the community to use the new building. So we want to make sure that these resemble that. And like Mike said, it's based on square footage. So for example, for the tier 2, each space we try to use between 2 and 4 cents per square foot. So just to give kind of a general idea about the fees. And there is a discount in the past. There were discounts available. I don't think it was thought through entirely in the past with the old building about the discounts, but we tried to do it a little more clear and easier to understand, just in terms of if there is somebody who's going to rent it 5 or more times or over 10 times throughout the year, that they would get a discount on that fee for the usage. So yeah, we're trying to just make it a clear system that the public can understand, and we want to obviously make sure that the building is being used. But glad to answer any questions if anyone has.
Right. So I think what is different about the community center versus the old Carroll Community Center is, in the old Carroll Community Center, there was also space where businesses rented space from us. And that is not what we're planning to do here. The space in the community center is 100% for the community and community programs that are sponsored by different town organizations. And these rentals this rental schedule is solely for town sponsored types of events. Is that correct, Mark?
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. So community groups, residents can use it,
Right.
whether they're holding an event or a party. But yeah, so get away from kind of the commercial business ventures that are renting it and then selling tickets or selling, charging a fee for people then to come into that space. So kind of subleasing it almost. We're
Right.
trying to get away from that, but more focus on community and community for them. Yep.
Right, and I also see that we've added the requirement that weekend rentals require a custodian fee, and that makes a lot of sense because I think even from a liability standpoint, we are better served to have, we need a town employee to be in the building when it's being rented out. So I think that makes a lot of sense to include that fee.
And I think
And
that
is
Mark,
that
did
a
you-
flat fee or an hourly fee?
so right now, the custodian fee is just a flat fee based on, we're required to have a staff come in a minimum of 4 hours. That's what it's based off of. But yeah, I
Okay,
think that's the biggest change. Just making sure that renters are aware it's no longer kind of just you get a key and you have the whole building to yourself and you can do whatever you want.
Okay.
So I think that's the biggest change.
and that was another thing that I want to make certain of. We are not going to provide anyone other than employees that work in that building with access to the building in the form of a key or card or something like that. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Correct.
so in the past, yeah, they used to go to the police station and grab a
Right,
key and
right.
open the building. But yeah, so that would no longer happen. But yeah, it
Okay.
would just but a little different. Also, there's operating hours. The old building did not have actual operating hours, so we'll obviously post those operating hours. Some of it will change based on season. But yeah, so I think it'll be a little clearer for residents to understand operating hours of the building when it's
Okay.
open. Before.
Okay.
So that's a good segue into my question, Mark. I'm wondering, did you consider different rates for operating hour events and outside of operating hour events? And what about custodial fees for evening events during the week?
Yeah, so the idea is during the week, there would be staff on site whenever the building is open. For example, if the building is open until 9 o'clock, then obviously there'll be staff here. So there's no additional fee, we felt, no additional fee for during the week because staff's already here. Similar to, you know, for example, like the school, same thing, the custodian's already scheduled. And that is the plan right now, is for the staff to be scheduled whenever the building is open. However, you know, on weekends, you know, whether it's a Saturday evening or a Sunday, potentially, you know, if the building is not open, we might have to bring a staff in, and that's why there's a fee for the weekends. But if it's a time that there's normally a staff here, there is no extra fee for custodian.
Makes sense.
So, Mark, I think this is an absolutely outstanding start. So thank you for that. I've got a whole bunch of like nit and detail stuff that might belong in kind of a policy discussion, because this is really a town policy for how we're going to allow others to use our community center. The first one is, instead of setting this fee schedule and then having some future Board of Selectmen look at it 15 years from now and go, wow, we really need to increase our fees, I'd like to suggest that we add the Boston CPI and apply it each year to these rates so that we are staying current with inflation. So that's idea number one. And then on the custodial fees, I was thinking of saying, you know, 120 for a half day, 240 for a full day. So if someone rents it for a full day and we have the custodian there all day Saturday, they should be paying for a full day because we have to, therefore they should. So just making sure that the custodial fees do indeed cover all costs to the town. And so, you know, rework that detail, and it doesn't have to go all on this very, I'm going to use pretty, but very nice spreadsheet that you put together. But there's, on the other side, there should probably be a few more rules. So for instance, over on the right, in the light green in the second box for rental discounts, in my mind, it should be paid rental. We want to make sure that no one's in arrears and still renting. So somewhere in a policy, it should be, okay, if you're more than 60 days overdue, then you can't use the facility anymore. So I'm going to pick on a sports team and they say, oh yeah, well, fine, but we'll pay you, and they never do. I just want to make sure that we're not in the bill collection business.
Another one on the discounts is what time frame do those periods cover? Is it once you've rented?
Yeah, so what we've done in the past is for a year. So like if it's
Okay.
You know, within a calendar year. So usually we go calendar year, just because some groups, for example, will rent it, you know, every day, you know, at a certain time, and that's why we.
It might be worthwhile making that explicit, Mark.
Yep.
Yes, I agree, Cam. Again, so you put together a wonderful policy, and we're here to muck it up with details.
Well, this is not a policy. This is just a fee schedule, and I agree with you. It really does need a policy. I think the comment to make clear that the rental discounts pertain to 1 year. I completely agree with you, Dave. 120, half a year, half a day, 240, you know, because we want to cover our costs. We're not trying to make it a profit center, but if we're going to open it, we want to cover our costs. And we should, I think it's an excellent idea to target this to an increase in inflation, or at a minimum, an annual review of the rates to look at, you know, whatever benchmark we use to set these up.
Mark, was the 240 based on time open, or was it based on the fact that you'll pay double time on Sundays?
It's double time.
Yeah, so it's based on
Right.
double time on Sunday. However, some of that's affected by scheduling of the staff and whether or not Yeah, so that was based on double time though, just to make sure we can cover that. But I agree in terms of we're finalizing an actual policy, so I agree. A lot of these are coming to a policy. Yeah, this is just kind of the rental fee schedule, but I can share with Mike and the board kind of a policy that's we didn't have one before, and we've kind of just highlighting a few items that would be
That would be great, because then I'll
Yeah.
skip, I've got a few more comments, but I'll skip them for that. With one exception, the only fee on here that I think is a little light is tier 4 for the gym. And I say that because I belong to another organization and they charge $500 flat fee just to rent a room. And it's not nearly as big and as nice as the gym.
Mhm.
So for outside Dover, events hosted by non-residents, out of town nonprofits. So now this is filler. And I think that tier 4 might want to be bumped a little bit more. It's just so we just don't get in. I mean, I'll make this up. The Natick Park and Rec's going, hey, that's a great deal. We'll rent the whole thing. So,
Yeah.
obviously I'm being absurd for effect, but I think you understand my point.
Yeah, and it's something that I know the Park and Rec Commission, we discussed that specific price and yeah, we just had to also, in the area, 100, 125 for a gym, 150 for a gym is normal. Should go a little higher. That's also for a full-size gym. We do not have a full-size gym. Ours is about a little over half of the gym. So that's kind of why we fell on that, or deciding the price, but it's definitely something we should look at the increase. But just so everyone knows, it's not a full-size gym, so that's why it is a little less than what we would see at full-size.
But it's
Right.
also a brand new,
Oh, absolutely,
sparkling,
100%, yeah.
clean gym that doesn't
Yeah.
smell because it was built in 1842. Sorry, just waxing on. Mark, it's your bailiwick, but if you're going to actually develop a policy and then we can review that for all these nits, that would be terrific. And again, thank you for doing this.
Right, and Mark, I think the gym, because the high school and middle school rent out their gyms, which are full-size gyms, and this seemed in line with what they were renting their gyms out for.
Right.
Yeah,
Again,
so
though,
we-
I wonder if their fee schedule has been looked at in the last X years. You know what I mean?
I believe it has, but we can double check with Dawn.
Yeah, that'd be great.
We can
I mean-
look at that one, but I know that's something we did discuss. Commission did discuss, and for especially that tier 4, to make sure.
Well, I think everything else is spot on. It's just for some reason I'm looking and saying, tier 3 is a Dover resident, and for $15 an hour more, I can
Mhm.
be someone from
Yeah.
Pennsylvania who wants to rent it.
Right, and in the policy, I think it would be good to give precedent or give to Dover residents. So if you get 2 requests on the same day, one for a Dover resident, one for a non-Dover resident, we should give priority to the Dover resident.
Yeah, and the idea, if there is conflicting requests, that we would just go to the tier system where tier 1,
Right.
tier 2, tier 3. It would go in that order if there were conflicting.
Yeah. I mean, it will be interesting to see how many requests you get. Have you already gotten requests?
Oh yeah. With,
Okay. All
So
right.
yeah, one of the reasons we
Over
brought this
20,
forward, we brought this forward tonight is because Mark is getting requests. So we wanted to make sure at least
Okay.
the fee schedule was established. One, because it's important to let people know. Two, it is a pretty significant change. We wanted to make sure that the selectmen bought into what we're trying to do.
Okay.
Oh, no, I love it personally. I think having a fee schedule that is clear and direct and make sure that we're not subsidizing anything by omission is an excellent thing to do. So thank you again.
Okay, so then what I'll do is I'll move to approve the Carroll Community Center rental fees with the recommendations made to the custodian line and to just clarifying that the rental discounts apply to annual rentals. And then, with the understanding that a policy will be brought to us that will go in conjunction with this fee schedule at a later date.
Second, sorry, I'm sorry. All of a sudden, I'm like, wait, second.
Okay, all in favor? I, Robin Hunter.
By Dave Haviland.
Cam Hudson.
All right, well, thanks. So Mark, while we have you here, can you clarify some items for me? It relates to the opening of the community
Absolutely.
center. So I know, so I'm a little bit confused as to whether Dover Days, which is September 13th, I believe, is the hard opening, well, the official opening of the center or not.
Yeah, so the plan and the idea is for that day to be the grand opening.
Okay,
for,
will there be a ribbon cutting and things like
Yes, so
that?
we'll
Okay,
include a
all
ribbon
right.
cutting. So we've talked with Chris and Janet and myself and Ruth Townsend from the building committee have met and we'll meet again here shortly. But yes, the idea is to have a ribbon cutting on that day, just
Okay.
with the hope that you know, many of the projects that here and final things can be buttoned up. And the idea is to have a grand opening week after that. So we'll start on that Saturday. And for the remainder of that week, we want as many people to come into the building as possible. So
Okay.
that'll include kind of free programming and ways to get people here of all ages into the building. So that will follow Dover Days. There will be, as we get to the beginning of September, we're, still unpacking the boxes here right now. So we still have lots to unpack, but the idea is over the next few weeks to unpack, and then early September we can have it ready to go.
Okay.
It might be a good idea to put that in the newsletter, Chris, because a lot of people are asking when is it going to open, and we've all, I think, been rather vague about it up until now.
Right.
Yeah,
And this is very helpful to me because I'm supposed to be I will be in Chicago on the 12th, which means I need to fly home in the evening of the 12th. Because after
You should be
30
here for Dover
years,
Days
I
anyway,
am
Robin.
not missing the official opening of the community center.
if I may, just to quickly comment on the rollout of this, as Mark mentioned, we met with, internally and shaped up some of the ideas for that day. And we're planning right now, in conjunction with all the parties, a full rollout communication wise, well ahead of the deadline to want to
Excellent.
make the announcement officially, but also kind of build the excitement and the enthusiasm for this big project.
I'm very excited. Yeah.
And then
Now,
we will be
I-
directing from our booth everyone over to the community center, right? Have you seen it yet? Have you seen it yet? Mark, you might, I'm guessing you might do something similar.
Yeah, we're gonna try to. We got some plans to offer some tours that day, and then again throughout that week. So I know some people might not want to be around, that many people. So early that week, we'll also have some time for tours for people to come through. And but yeah, I think it'll be a great time for people to see it that day, and we're excited. So I know, speaking of for COA and Janet and myself and Parks and Rec, we are excited to get people here and to experience the building.
And the building committee
Yeah.
and residents of the town and
No, but there is another, not a shout out, but a sincere thank you to Mark, because you've taken on a lot of additional tasks. That's a nice word. That's nice and broad. Additional tasks relating to the opening of the building and everything that has gotten us to this point. So from all of us, thank you.
Indeed.
Very
Thank you,
welcome.
Matt.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
very exciting. And thanks for the clarification. I will now book my flights.
Yes, we would appreciate everyone to be there. Yeah, if you
Yeah.
can.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Mark. And so now we'll go to item 1.2, which I thought was item 1.1, and that is to vote the letter agreement between Langdon Environmental LLC and Dover for the implementation of the environmental monitoring program and inspections for the town landfill and transfer station.
Perfect. So this is a regulatory requirement that we monitor and have a contract in place to monitor the landfill and check for leachate and gas and all sorts of stuff, the water. So we've worked with this would be, if this is approved, this will be the third year of working with Langdon Environmental. As Dave said, a lot of things are going up, like CPI, and follow that. I'm very happy to say that Kevin's managed to get the same price 3 years in a row. So we appreciate that very much. Same services. Before you is a agreement. In conjunction with this will be attached to this will be the standard Town of Dover contract form, which is approved by Town Council. So that is what the actual document that will be signed, but this will be attached to it as the accompanying document. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Robin, I actually do have a few, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
So Mike, I quickly teased you about this. It's task C on page 2.
Okay, yep.
Number 1, it says that they assume that the PD operator will continue with their part of this. Is that assumption valid? Do we know that the PD operator is going to be testing on their part of the site? And I don't need an answer right now. But again, I read that and I'm like, well, do we know this? Because it says assumption. Whenever I see assumption in a contract, I go, well, so that was one. On the last page, they talk about PFAS. Is this something, because it says it's not included, do we want to include it or do we specifically not want to include it? I don't know. But that was something that it says does not include any lab analysis for PFAS compounds in the water quality test.
Right.
Yep. So the reason I believe that's there is right now. So again, this is a regulatory requirement. PFAS is not part of the testing that DEP requires for landfills.
Yeah.
I think there's been some discussion on whether or not that should be added at a state level. And so I think what the contractor is trying to be clear is this proposal and this price does not include that, but should it be required, that would require an additional cost.
Right, and right now it's not part, I mean, there would also need to be an amendment to the regulatory requirements that we have for the closure of this landfill. I can't think of the name of that document, right? Because right now
Yeah.
this mirrors the requirements under the closure certificate.
So
Because
then just leave it
we need to-
alone. That's
Right,
I'm
because-
totally fine. I just wanted to
Right.
ask the question.
No, I think it's a really good question because we need to file an annual report basically to the DEP to show that we're in compliance with the order, our closure order. There's a name for it and I just can't think of it right now.
So
And-
I'm assuming that we are happy with the services they've been providing for the last 2 years if we're prepared to do it again. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
And then the other thing, which is a total nit, but it's just not stated, is when is the money due? Is because there's no like cancellation clause or anything like that. So I'm assuming this gets done like maybe half up front, half at completion, but there's no term. It's his payment terms and there's no terms.
Okay, yeah, I will clarify that. I believe we receive a bill after each round. I think there's 2 rounds of testing, I believe,
Yep.
but I'll confirm that.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, you know what I'm after, Mike. Nothing's going to be held up at all, but these are just questions that we should probably get answered.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So those are mine. Thank you.
Okay, so then I'm going to make a motion. I move to approve the letter of agreement dated July 29th, 2025 between Langdon Environmental LLC and Dover for professional services related to the implementation of the environmental monitoring program and inspections for the town's landfill and transfer station.
Second,
All in favor? I, Robin Hunter.
I, Dave Haviland.
I Cam Hudson.
So that's it. It's the monitoring program. That's what I was looking for. So the next item on the agenda is item 1.3, and this is somewhat of an administrative item. So the Metropolitan Area Planning Council is basically the regional planning councils that serve cities and towns of Greater Boston. And each city and town, they work together to develop an annual work plan of priorities. And the way this works is it's governed by representatives from each city and town in the region who represent their city or town's interests. So it makes a lot of sense that now that we've hired our new town planner, that we would appoint her as our representative to the Metropolitan Area Planning Council. And this is what we're gonna do here. Did I get that right?
You did. The only thing I just wanted to add is we're very fortunate that our new town planner is very familiar with MAPC, has participated with them. And, over the years, I think due to staffing and other things, Dover has had intermittent participation. But I think it's great for us to have a voice. They also have a number of both grant opportunities, but also assist with grant writing. As we know, we don't have a grant writer, but MEPC does offer that service. And in fact, I actually had a call with them earlier this year as the sustainability committee was trying mightily to get a very last minute grant application in for a climate action plan. Unfortunately, we were just too late, but that is a service that they assist with, just as one example. So it's a great group, and I think having Melissa there will be a real benefit to Dover.
Yeah, I mean, Melissa's experience is really a breath of fresh air. She is very quickly becoming very valuable to the town with all the experience that she's had in planning and the various things that she's done before. And the same thing is true for Joanne, the town treasurer. It's really great to have seasoned professionals here bringing what's
Value.
worked well for them at other communities to Dover. It's really, we've really upped our game in the last few months. So it's nice to see the energy in the townhouse. So in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 40B, Section 24, I move to appoint Melissa Santucci Rossi as the Town of Dover's representative to the Metropolitan Area Planning Council for a term ending on June 30th, 2028.
Second.
All in favor? I, Robin Hunter.
Hi, Dave Haviland.
Hi, Ken Hudson.
Excellent. So now this is somewhat my favorite section of the meetings. It also demonstrates to the town that we actually do something as selectmen. We don't just attend these meetings. So I wanted to give a little update first on what I've been up to, and then each of you should also present what you've been up to. So I have gotten to know Melissa quite well. She and I have spent some time together, just talking a little bit about the MBTA Communities Act, town meeting, some of the experiences that she had at town meeting, what kinds of things we might want to think about doing a little differently in Dover. The hardest thing for her, she was saying, is she's only been here 4 weeks and she doesn't really know the town well. Like, she understands her job really well. So she's struggling with how to apply what she knows to the town of Dover. The MBTA Communities Act is a really heavy lift for the planning board. And I think Melissa coming on when she came on has been really helpful. As the liaison to the planning board, I've been spending time with Carol Lisbon as well, just trying to figure out what the right approach is to getting the information out there. So right now, Melissa worked on putting together an executive summary, but as she joked with me, it's 10 pages long. So is that really an executive summary? But the document is excellent because it really is a phenomenal consolidation of everything that's been done in the town for the last 3 years with respect to MBTA's communities, as well as the requirements of the law. But if we just sending that out in and of itself to households. Unfortunately, I think 80% of households are going to throw it in the trash, and we really need them to focus on that. So we brought Chris and Mike into the fold as well, and Guilfoyle is going to try and help us because we need that. I would encourage every resident to read what the final executive summary is, but it is a very long document, and we need to figure out how to pull out critical sound bites that are facts and not myths and educate the town. Because the more education we get out there before town meeting, the better served we're going to be, which is now going to be my plug for every board and committee really needs to attend the, the meeting that the planning board is sponsoring on the 18th for each board and committee to learn and think about questions that they have. And then the final public information session on September 8th is going to be very helpful to us. And I would very much encourage all residents to attend that as well. And that's going to be, both of those meetings are going to be really helpful to us and the planning board in trying to understand what the concerns are of residents and make sure that we address them in presentations that we make at town meeting and things that we send out prior to town meeting to try and educate citizens of Dover. Because as I keep saying, this is the law, and the cost for non-compliance is very high in terms of dollars. And we need, it's no longer threats. We have seen in action the funding that gets taken away. And we need to comply with the law. So it's important that residents understand what the law is and what the cost for non-compliance is as well.
Agreed.
Couldn't agree more, Robin.
So because I was the liaison last year,
Right.
today I literally sat down in a fit of, I just wanted to write it. So I started typing a possible Board of Selectmen viewpoint. And
Excellent.
I sent it to Carol and asked her to verify the facts and timelines and dates. And then I'm going to give it to Mike to give to you, Cam, and you, Robin, to, is this a good starting point? And you may say no and throw it in the trash and write your own. That's fine too. But I just wanted to start to get something down because I think at the next meeting or sometime soon, the Board of Selectmen should take a vote on our support of MBTA, and then put together a policy to go and do the equivalent of the Blue Book. I don't know what color they've picked.
So this is what this executive summary is, and this is what Melissa already has a first draft of. So, but in that executive summary or blue book or pink book or yellow book or orange book, whatever we're going to call it, the special MBTA book, there are placeholders for, Board of Selectmen's recommendation and why, Warrant Committee's recommendation and why, Capital's recommendation and why. And the goal for the planning board is to get a vote, a positive vote or support from all boards and committees. And put it in this summary that's going to be sent out to every household.
Yep.
In anticipation of town meeting. So the warrant is going to get sent out separately. And then we're calling it an executive summary, but maybe it has another name. And, because it's so important that it doesn't get put in everybody's trash can, because this gets passed at town meeting and we need people to come to town meeting. So we need people to pay attention, and they need to recognize how important this is to the town of Dover. I mean, we need residents to come to town meeting and to educate themselves about the MBTA community
Well, I just started putting quick math down on a piece of paper, and I quickly realized that our funds at risk is literally half a year's operating budget. I mean, that might finally put it into perspective for those who.
And the other part is opposing it has almost no benefits because we're still going to have to follow the law anyway.
Correct.
Right. And you
Yeah.
have legal costs, you know, so you
Mhm.
have to add the legal costs to having to defend yourself. And
It will be a multi-year process and many hundreds of thousands of dollars on the low end and seven figures on the high end.
yeah, I think you easily are going to get to millions to defend
Mhm.
yourself, and you're not going to win, and then you're still going to need to be compliant. And you know, and
Exactly.
that's the bottom line. It's the law. And when, as Melissa and I talked, when the town she was at before, they were one of the first towns to have to adopt it. You know, taking funding away was a threat. It's not a threat anymore. It's a
No,
reality. And
no.
the list of types of grants that are in the actual Mass General law has expanded since then. You know, the legislator has just included Chapter 90 funds. We know Marblehead voted no, and they're in a pickle now because they signed contracts for certain projects to get done, and they don't have a way to pay for it now because their funding was taken away. So it's very real. It's not a threat anymore.
Right. And the Marblehead Board of Selectmen are fighting like the Dickens with the state, like, hey, wait, what do you want us to do? We're trying to comply. We brought it to town meeting. We
Right,
passed it at town meeting, but it failed at the polls. And, we've done everything we possibly could. What would you like us to do now? And that I think is evolving on a daily basis as they try to negotiate more time.
right, right. So you know, so I think, you know, we started early. We were able to benefit from other towns that have already passed it. We saw what worked and what didn't work. You know, I think the planning board has done a phenomenal job making sure that every I is dotted and T is crossed. You know, making it an inclusive process for the community. And now the rubber's gonna hit the road. I mean, we have to get people to town meeting. We're not being alarmist or making idle threats. The reality is non-compliance equals funding going away and significant amount of funding going away. So, you know, and I think that is the key point. So you vote no, and we have to find funds to pave our roads, you know, to do infrastructure projects. And it's the taxpayers of Dover that will have to pay for that. I mean, these aren't nice to have items.
Well said. The financial ramifications are not inconsequential, and indeed would put this town, we'd likely go into Prop 2.5 territory because we're going to need to spend the money. We can't not pave the roads.
Right. So, you know, and so it's important, and it's also important, and we've talked a lot about this, there are nuances as well. And there's certain areas that are gray. Like when you look at the 14 communities last I looked that were out of compliance. So what does that mean? You know, they're not, all 14 of them are not suing the Commonwealth. Many of them are just trying to negotiate something a little bit different. So it's very gray, and you can't just assume that those that are non-compliant are suing the Commonwealth.
There's only one town that is
Right.
actively in non-compliance right now without some kind of specific negotiation, like Weston is renegotiating because they're losing an MBTA station. So the formula that the state put together, it's like, well, you can't hold us to 2 stations because we're losing one. So that's a
Mhm.
very specific example of
Right. And
they will be in
they're actually
compliance.
right, and they're actually seem to be, if you go onto their website, on the same track as us now for their vote and getting this all done. Like they have a
Yep,
very similar schedule to us.
which makes sense.
Right, right.
So,
So since our last meeting, I feel as though that's all I've done, because even the warrant committee that I attended was focused on the MBTA Communities Act. So, the members of the warrant committee had met with the planning board, and again, each time you listen to different committees, there are myths that keep getting repeated that we need to make sure that people understand that it's just not factual, and understand what the facts are. And also what I found is you can't allow citizens to confuse this with 40B or with
mhm.
the Red Robin pastures, that it has nothing to do with it. This is a law that we need to be compliant with. And the other items are completely separate and different. And you can't roll them all into one.
Right.
So,
Agreed. Well, that's thank you for picking up the mantle and running so hard with it because
well, I'm the liaison. I
yeah.
don't know. I think I got the short straw, but
So are you all set?
yep, I am.
So the only committee that's actually met is sustainability, and they have got some ideas for some action items on our goals. So they did review them, and
Oh,
we're
good.
likely to get suggestions. Um, the building committee is next Tuesday, and after that, please watch on the warrants for the architect and Collier's, those payments. Just if you could let me take a look at them before we approve them for payment. I just want to make sure what the building committee agrees and what it is match.
You
So
saw my note this week.
yes,
Right,
yes,
right,
thank
right.
you. And you guys didn't get it. I actually was on another webinar and reviewed that. And I sent out my approval. Did you get that or did it not go?
I didn't see it, and so I didn't want to hold it up, but I wanted to
Right.
make sure, that, you know, I, I was pretty certain that it was checked, because I
Yeah.
know but I just wanted to make 100% certain, so.
Yeah, and Mike double checked too.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, no, that's just fine. I think it's going to be the next one, just
Okay,
as a heads up.
all right.
And then the only other thing is the financial review working group is trying to spool up a meeting in September to get that ball rolling. Um, so that's what I've got since.
Yes, I don't have much to report. The Capital Budget Committee hasn't been meeting recently, and we're trying to move that forward and get active on the committee. I've been in the unfortunate position of just missing the Open Space Committee meetings through other things going on. Mike, I'm still sort of interested where we stand with this MBTA advisory board. I haven't really worked out where and what that is and how I need to proceed with it. So I'd like some guidance on that. And then
Their conferences
contract
in Ireland.
and our contract negotiations seem to be still going on. And the cross street stuff is still hasn't really got going yet either. So I'm sitting here without very much going on. So I apologize not to have much to report.
I I would have liked that kind of a summer. It's
Yeah.
just we're trying to get ready for
Yeah, well, the
the
MBTA
MBTA,
is
right?
where it's all at, right?
Don't apologize, things will kick in. And I think, with respect to the Capital Committee, this is a great year to be on Capital, because the Collins Center as part of the project is going to be doing a lot of the heavy lifting. So,
Right.
and it's just going to be wonderful to see how that process rolls out. So,
Yes.
Indeed. Mhm.
so I don't know,
We're gonna
Chris,
learn a lot.
if you have anything to report on that.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to report on it, but Mike, oh, Chris,
Chris,
yes.
yeah.
Sorry, did you ask me? I didn't mean to
Yeah.
butt in. Yeah, no, we've actually we extended the deadline for the submission of the
Mhm.
request for the 5 years.
Okay.
I have been pretty active with some of the larger volume departments in terms of requests, and I'm pretty pleased with
Thank
the
you.
work that everybody's put in so far to really make these requests as comprehensive and as detailed as possible. So we're hard at work at it. Everyone's really putting extra effort in really over the summer and outside of our normal timeline to make this happen. So thank you
Great.
to everybody who's filled in those forms, and the next step is putting it all together and really starting to break it down so we can put together a complete package for release to everybody in the town.
Well, thank you, Chris. It's very exciting. I'm really excited to see how it works. So, any more updates, or can we turn it over to Mike?
I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm all set too.
All right, thank you. I just had a couple. One, the committee didn't meet, so Dave didn't mention it, but I did want to just mention the fire chief search continues, and the Board of Fire Engineers are scheduled Monday to interview final candidates. So again, something else very exciting. Hopefully, our first full-time fire chief. So keep an eye on that. We'll keep you updated as that moves forward. I'm just looking through my notes, Robin. I think we out-talked MBTA with the exception of just because people catch bits and pieces on Facebook or YouTube. I just wanted to re-emphasize the important dates for the general public. So September 8th is the planning board public hearing, and then special town meeting is on September 29th. So we just can't hammer those dates home enough. So we'll just keep doing
Right,
it.
and there've been really nice little colorful cards that have gone out on the unofficial Dover Facebook page, the Dover Facebook page. So I think those are great because they just pop up in your view, and it's just a reminder that of those two really important dates.
Right, absolutely. And then the only other thing I wanted to mention is the town of Norwood has put together a campaign. They're calling it Finish Norwood Hospital. So since my time here, just 2 years, Norwood Hospital has been closed. But my understanding is when it was open, it did get some use by Dover residents. Even though we have other hospitals available, I guess that was in use. So they've been asking communities that were within their general area, including Dover, to share that they are looking to hold a rally or a gathering on September 6th from 11 to 12, advocating for finishing the building and reopening Norwood Hospital. So we just, as a courtesy to our fellow staff in Norwood, we just wanted to share that. So again, Saturday, September 6th, the Norwood Town Common Gazebo, 11 to 12. It coincides, we talked about Dover Days, it coincides with their Norwood Day. So you could enjoy those festivities as well if anyone's interested in attending. So just wanted to pass that along.
I'll let
Yeah,
you know if
just
they
to-
have ducks.
Okay.
and just a reminder that it shut down because of that flood.
Blood.
Correct. That's
Because
right.
I think our EMTs sometimes would go to Norwood and sometimes would go to Needham.
I think that's true. Yeah.
Right.
And the building, at a minimum, there's a very nice looking shell of the building. I truly don't know in terms of the inside what's complete, but their goal, the region's goal, is to get that open and running again. So
Right. I mean, it would really help, with all the regional hospitals closing down, the ERs around here. I don't know if anybody has been to the ER. I mean, they are packed. There are people in hallways.
Is there
really
a
do admire
20-second
those.
synopsis on what's holding up the Norwood Hospital? I mean, is that owned by the private venture folks, or is it? I don't know where it stands and what's holding up the reopening.
That's a great question. There is a website, finishthejobnorwood.com. There's a lot. It looks like there's quite a bit of resources on there. I'm trying to quickly find if there's like a current update.
Don't worry about it, Mike. I can do that. I'll Google it.
Okay, yeah, but take a look. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so then, thank you, Mike, and I hope you got some rest on your vacation.
Thank you. Yes, I did.
Oh, that's
Very-
right. How was it?
It was
I
great.
totally forgot.
I might have. I'd have told everyone this. The best part was not having an alarm set. It was just wonderful to wake up whenever you felt like waking up. It was nice.
All right, so I will move on to the consent agenda. So in the consent agenda, we will approve 2025 special one-day liquor licenses for July. Some of them are retroactive. July 24th, 29th, 30th, and 31st. And then August 1st, which is retroactive. Then August 9th, 12th, 14th, 16th, 17th, 18th, and 30th. And lastly, September 25th. So
It must be party time in Dover.
I guess so. I am going to, and don't forget, everybody, we need to go to the townhouse to sign these. And if it's a Friday, remember it's closed.
Yeah.
So
So
I
don't
move-
come till Monday.
Yeah, right. I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor? Aye, Robin Hunter.
Hi, Dave Haviland.
I can, Hudson.
All right.
And we probably should take pity on Mona and give her some time on Monday morning to get them all together.
Oh, no, I'm going to be there 6 a.m.
I'll meet you,
Actually-
Robin. I'll bring coffee.
Actually, I'm going to be in Europe, so I won't be able to get there this week. so. But I think you only need 2, right?
That's right. Yes,
Okay.
just two.
So we're good.
All right, Cam. So it's you and I
I'll
get
be
to
on.
hold Mona up here. This is our big chance. So
A coup is in the making.
Be my guest.
it's our life. We can choose to end it any way we see fit.
Well, actually for summer, that was a good meeting. There was actually quite a lot, and there's still a lot going on in town. So,
It is
thank you.
amazing the
Right.
old ways of nothing happens in the summer. I'm
No.
afraid it's not true anymore.
No.
And thank you to everybody and the staff. I know many of you are taking time off, which you should, and it's just great to see the camaraderie and people covering for one another and just everything getting done. So thank you to
Yes.
all the staff. And with that, I am going to make a motion or
Move to adjourn.
to adjourn the meeting. I'm tongue-tied. Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye, Robin Hunter.
Hi, Dave Haviland.
I can, Hudson.
All right, Cam, enjoy Ireland.
Yes.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah,
It's great.
can't wait to hear. Don't forget to call Dave. He seems to have some tips. And
There might
thank
be more
you.
stories and tips, but we'll see. So,
Uh-huh.
Oh, I'll
All right.
also tell you, I sheared a sheep.
Really? Wow.
They are very sticky.
In Ireland.
Yes.
I grew up with sheep shearing, so it's not something I particularly want to
No.
experience.
I was just kind of freaked out at how sticky it was. But
We had 40,000 of those woolly beasts, so it wasn't
you're an
something.
expert.
It went on for about 3 weeks.
I can only imagine. I was so afraid I was going to kind of nick the poor little thing.
wow.
All right. Well,
Good.
thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Have a wonderful
Thank
night.
you.
Goodbye.
You too.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.